J.M.Wong, the author of the urban fantasy novel Under a Cursed Scythe. I am back with another book review video of this month. So this book, I only completed it recently, but I bought this book, or I started reading it since January. So it's more than half a year for me to complete this book. Of course, other than talking about this book, I also wanted to talk about the topic of whether it is better to read through Kindle or through traditional paperbacks. Like, which one is better? This is also one of the topics that I will definitely talk about in this video. As I've mentioned in one of my book review videos, I said that I wanted to support, independent authors or authors that are not so well known, like known by the mainstream industry, and thus I'd like to talk about unique books, stuff like this. And this is one of the books that is under this category as well. And that book is The Legends of Eve. Yes, by Anonymous. So it's very interesting that the author's name, up till now, it's still unknown, and it's called Anonymous. Like, if you go and read and check out this book, the author line actually says it's anonymous. So this book is in fact the first book that I've completed through Kindle. Like, this is the first book that I actually buy on Kindle, as well as the first book that I've managed to complete on Kindle. Because like, I'm very used to paperback versions, and when I eventually bought Kindle, like, for the sake of saving more space and money, for books, because I don't have much space here to put my books. So having Kindle is much better. I can store a lot of books, read a lot, while I don't have to, worry about not having a lot of space and money. So this Legends of Eve is the first book that I have completed on Kindle. So I would say the first thing that attracted me to buy this book was the cover. Like, if you look at the cover, it's really pretty with the eyes and the green sparkle in it. It just feels like it's so real. It's like staring at you. So the cover really attracted me a lot. Then the second thing would be the concept. The concept, from the brief description I had and the reviews I had, it feels like it's like Harry Potter mashed with Avatar. Like, if you know Avatar, right? The Airbender, the last Airbender Avatar. Like, they have the 5 elements. At the same time, there's also the magic school, students from different schools, different districts coming together and study magic together. It has this, concept here, which is one of my favorite concepts, and that's why, immediately I got attracted to this book and I bought it. So if I have to talk about the good thing of reading on Kindle, is that they have this function where you can add notes, highlight with different colors without an actual highlight pen. And then the point of adding notes is that if I want to jot down some of my immediate reaction and thoughts towards certain parts of the story, I can immediately type it out, and then perhaps like a review. Like, I would say, if you look at this, so you might not see it clear, but there are this is the part where there is written my notebook inside this book, and then there's a list of the notes that I've written down for each of the part. So you can definitely save a lot of the phrases here, and it's easier for me to copy down stuff. Like, if you've seen my previous writing vlog, you know that very often I like to jot down some very beautiful phrases that I found in each book, and then for my future reference, because I'm not a native speaker, I want to know how native speakers speak in daily life or write in daily life, and it's very useful for that. And for Kindle, it has this option where you can highlight all stuff, and if you click to my notebook, it actually show all the phrases that are useful. And I must say, this book has really good writing in that I can learn so much more from it. Like, I'm not sure, I think you might not be able to see that, but if you scroll down here, in total there are in fact, let me see, there are in fact like 53 beautiful lines or paragraphs that I love, that I told myself that I must jot it down to remember. There's so much beautiful sentences here. At the same time, I used another color. So for phrases, I would use yellow for a highlight, and for blue phrases, for the blue highlights, they are usually used for concepts that I really like, or parts that I feel very touched or resonate with it. I remember sharing one of the quotes that I found in this novel, because there's so much I can't really remember. There's so many quotes that I resonate with, and sometimes because what's happening in my daily life or in Hong Kong, some of the phrases actually I use it to express my feelings. So I would say the ideas and concepts being portrayed, expressed here, can definitely resonate with readers very often, and it's very close to our daily life, even though the context might be related to magic and not a world that we are in right now. So that's one. So the writing is beautiful. The ideas and concepts, the ideas behind the story can resonate with readers quite well. So about reading on Kindle, it's just so different from paperback version. And for me, I definitely find it more difficult to complete a book through Kindle. At some point, yes, there is this highlight kind of function, but it's very, how to say, it will keep on stopping, and there's this technical problems where sometimes it cannot detect my touch very well, and it will stop in the middle, and you just feel so annoyed, and sometimes you feel like, oh, you already highlighted it, but it ended up not highlighting it. And yeah, these are just some of the things that will put me off when I try to read on Kindle. And unlike having a book, you can just, okay, if I want to skip to this page without knowing the actual page number, you can just like flip, okay, cool, just go to this chapter or just go to this page. But for a Kindle, you cannot. You have to just swipe, swipe, swipe. Or when you're reading it will accidentally swipe to the next page when you haven't finished it. It's just this little inconvenience would kind of put me off from reading from Kindle. But back to the story, I would say I really, really, really love the concept, the ideas, the world construction, and the writing of this novel. However, there's this weakness for this novel that's also another reason why I couldn't complete this novel within a month and have to prolong it till like a half a year later. And that's the plot. Like, the plot is quite unique, to be honest. If you've read the book, you know that there are two storylines inside this plot, and it's interesting. One is a storyline inside a storybook, and another line would be the storyline outside of the storybook. So this is a very interesting concept, and I've never seen, or perhaps I didn't read much. It's new for me, at least, and I like it very much. However, like, if you ask me to choose, I would prefer, like, I wouldn't say I love both of the storylines. I would say I love the storyline inside the storybook very much. It made me curious. It made me want to know what's going to happen for the characters inside the storybook, and I look forward to book 2 just because of that storyline. However, for the storyline outside of the storybook, for me it's confusing and frustrating at some point, especially near the end. I just feel like, huh? Why did this happen? Like, I don't remember. Like, how, why? It might be because it's I've been prolonging the reading process, and it made me forget some details, but it's just confusing. Like, oh, suddenly there are new characters appearing near the end, and there are new things and confusing, and somehow one character reached to a point that you don't remember there are any signs to it, or like how. And yeah, I the whole process was a bit weird, and I feel like the reason why I prolonged the reading process is mostly because of that storyline. Like, for the other storyline, it's very interesting, it's very intense. So whenever I read that storyline, I would keep on reading. But once I skip back to the storyline outside of the storybook, very often I just feel like, there are two feelings mainly. It's just too boring or unnecessary, and the second thing would be very confusing, frustrated. I don't recall, or like, it's just suddenly too much information in. But of course, the storyline inside the storybook, there's also one point that stopped me from reading, and I believe it's not because of the writing or the plot. It's just too gruesome for me, and I just had to take a break from that. It was because I cared about that character so much, and that one scene just made me, oh my god. So I wouldn't necessarily say that was a bad thing for the stop that I had to take for the storyline inside the storybook, because I just felt so much for that character. Like, I can actually put myself into it, and I just feel so sad, and I had to stop. But for the other storyline, I just couldn't feel the same thing for this storyline. So for me, this book is like half-half, because there's this one storyline that I really like, and the other would be, I think at this point for book 1, for me, I don't feel anything. I'm a bit confused, and at some point I just feel like, oh, why do you do that? So there's this, two things happening at the same time. But if you combine, in general, I really, really like this book because of the entire, and I feel like perhaps this storyline that I'm not so fond of will flower or evolve into something in book 2, I'm so sure, because at the end I feel like, because there's this one big thing that's happening at the end, I just feel like perhaps, yes, very likely, for book 2, this storyline will blossom into something really, really good. So for me, I would definitely go and check out book 2 as well, which is very rare because I rarely buy book 2. Like, the only book series that I actually buy book 2 or book 3 for the rest of the series would be Harry Potter, Hunger Games, and Twilight. And for the others, no matter how famous it is, it has been such a long time since I bought book 2, because even for the others, like A Court of Roses, books like these, I only buy book 1, never book 2. And I feel like this book would be one of the books that I would definitely go and buy book 2 if it comes out. So back to reading through Kindle, I truly think that you have to change your entire reading habit. Like there's this good thing where you can just have this habit of writing more notes or highlighting stuff, but at the same time there's this, you know, flaws about Kindle is that there are a lot of technical problems. It's being your reading habit will be restricted. You cannot immediately turn to specific pages or randomly go for pages, or just skip to the ending. It might take you some time to detect your finger, stuff like this. And to be honest, I truly love paperback versions than Kindle because of the texture and stuff. You smell it, you just love it. But Kindle, you cannot do it. But of course, you can buy a lot more books without worrying about not enough space and spending too much with Kindle. So for me, I would say if not for me now, because recently I packed my books again. I've tried to calculate how much book I have. I actually calculated 185 paperback books that I've owned, but I only read 23 of them. So I would try to read all of the paperbacks, but if I do see new books that I really want to read, I would try my best to buy the Kindle. Like, I would say I don't want any of my books to waste, so I would try to read all the paperback versions before I go and buy that again. But before that, if I really want to buy some of the books, I just buy the Kindle version. That's kind of my feeling for reading on Kindle, the benefits of having a Kindle. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. Hope you like it, and do check out the book Legends of Eve. It's very worth it to read it. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like it, remember to just subscribe and give a big thumbs up. And yeah, let's end this video by saying remember to stop existing, start living, and be alive. Bye!